Black Fortress of Opium is a band whose sound reflects the human situation and the human condition.
It's got an Americana influence. It definitely has a goth influence. It definitely has an Eastern influence.
Exotic. I like the fact that it has one foot in world music. I also like that it has a bit of like an indie rock and gothy kind of sensibility. I don't know if that's is that a bad word this year? I can't remember.
All four of us are so distinct. You know, we come from very different poles of the musical world.
At times it's haunting, intense. It can also be very personal and direct.
It has post-punk, you know, early 80s new wave, psychedelic first, Joy Division energy going on with parts of it.
Black Fortress of Opium is a dark mirror with which to see the light.
I remember her saying something to the effect of, what should we call the band? And I'm like, oh, we should call it after that town.
The name Black Fortress of Opium is inspired by a place. And the reason that town is named that is because there is a massive fortress built on a volcanic rock in the middle of this little town, surrounded by fields of opium poppies.
And she was like, well, you know, I was thinking the same thing too, but don't you think that's over the top? And I go, yeah.
Martin Bisi and I started corresponding online back in 2006. And I was playing a solo show in Brooklyn, New York, where he lives.
And I saw her, and I thought it was really good.
From the moment I met him, I felt like he was a very open individual.
Well, she had a ton of style. That's obviously the first thing I saw. So she definitely looked kind of splendid and star-like, or star-ish, or whatever the word might be. She has a very nice, kind of angelic vocal.
The band was coming together very quickly. The songs were coming together very quickly.
And all of a sudden, here we got like 10 songs, you know? And then all of a sudden, you know, I was just friends with Martin.
And I felt like I should ask Martin, why not? I feel like it was, in some ways, maybe fate that I met him at that time.
And he seemed really, really into it. He seemed like he actually cared, which is kind of nice, you know?
Martin had produced and recorded many people who I respect, such as the Swans. He's worked with John Zorn, Bill Laswell, Sonic Youth, the Dresden Dolls.
Most of what I do either falls into like very hard rock, or kind of like indie rock, or sort of like experimental.
He's worked with a lot of people that seem to specialize in extremes. Very harsh sounds, very in your face, alternating with very delicate, beautiful, and intense sounds. And I felt like this band kind of embodied that same sort of approach.
Martin was kind of like a band member. He kind of helped us sound the way we sounded.
The sound is, you know, back to like the imagery of the smoke on the cover of the record, you know, hypnotizing you.
Sort of has an evocative kind of quality. It's also can be very intimate. It kind of goes, it teeters between those two things. In fact, their songs blatantly go between sort of intimate and personal, and sort of impersonal and kind of detached.
When I started playing in this band, that sound that I heard in my head is the sound that Martin got on tape. It's kind of old world, yet modern at the same time, and then retro and timeless.
Edward Devotion is one that really, in its conciseness and its directness, really sort of embodied like what the band is, you know, the essence of the band. It's a complete blowout of drama and sort of like hinted chaos. Like that's sort of a little bit my style in a way. That's like one of my things, quote unquote.
The performances on the CD, I think, pretty much sound like, you know, the way we would be playing them live.
This band was pretty young still when we started making this recording. We had only been playing together for about 6 months or less.
There was tension.
There were casualties.
There was tension and friction, and everybody could tell.
Yeah, there was conflict.
There was some blown tempers at times.
A certain amount of tension is a good thing. It's sort of, it's the fuel that keeps the engine going.
Some of that tension came out through the record, you know? It's definitely an intense album.
But there was enough times of harmony where I think it was good.
Everyone really cared, and any conflict was around that.
I think the whole thing took like 8 months total, spread out, which is good. I believe in the slow burn for projects. I believe that, I mean, I guess some music might be good for like knock 'em out, but definitely with my personality, the slow burn, really getting in, you know, Also, because through that, then the chemistry starts happening. We start communicating. The better ideas come after like a while of being around each other.
We grew a lot during the process as a group, and we know each other a lot better now.
It's all very personal and social in a sense.
Love the way the record sounds. And when we play live, I just get lost, you know, I get really lost in the music. It's just really, really beautiful music to me. I've never played anything like it, and I just feel very, very fortunate and very, very grateful that I'm a part of it.